Welcome into the Sports Objective, a very special show, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited. We have Bubba Rosenbaum producing tonight. He'll be with us in just a little bit. Appreciate him very much. We have an East Carolina basketball roundtable, and I reached out to over the weekend on Sunday to Seymour because Cy is, of course, the analyst for the Learfield IMG College Pirate Basketball Network, and I want to reach out to you because I heard this rumor. And I said, oh, my God, it might be true that Joe Dooley was leaving. And I said, who can I reach out to? And I reached out to Cy. I said, if anybody knows Joe's leaving, it'll be Cy Seymour. And I was sitting on my couch right over here. And you calmed me down. I was getting ready to jump off the cliff. And you said, wait just a minute, Dave. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny that you say that. The first I was ushering at our church. And all of a sudden, my phone is just buzzing. And I said, so I just texted Joe. I said, Joe, any truth to this rumor? He said, no. So he kind of calmed me down right there. And I've been told that several times. And then on the Brian Bailey show, it was told again. So we're okay there. And I've talked to several people in the basketball office. And truthfully, Joe is working himself to death in this portal right now. We are really close to some really good players, and so he's Joe Dooley. He's the best at that you're going to see.
We also have with us Kyle from the Grange Barber. What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? How are things on a Thursday night? Jeez, I had to think about that.
Yeah, well, it definitely. I can tell you it's Thursday night. It's been a really, really long week, but with us we have Cy Seymour, Neil Punt. We'll get to Neil in just a second. We have Bubba and Kyle. We have our East Carolina basketball roundtable. For those that are on the message boards and social media, you can calm down. Everything's going to be okay. And I'm still going to – I'll tell you what I'm going to try to find out, guys. With the COVID year, I'm going to try to see, Neil Punt, if we can get you an extra year, because everybody else is getting an extra year. And, man, we could use your shooting. My God, we could use your shooting and rebounding.
Hey, if Joe will have me, I'll come. You know, I actually watched the Rodney Dangerfield back to school this weekend, so I'll take another year of college.
We'll call it Neil Punt 2.0. What do you think, Si?
Hey, listen, Neil can play right now. Look, it's like I say, I'm old, and I've been doing this 23 years, and you don't forget a guy like Neil Punt. He could do it all. I'm telling you, he was 6'8". He was strong. He made great decisions on the floor. He played both ends of the floor. He was a treat to watch play. And he still stands out to this day. When you said Neil Punt's coming on, I said, you couldn't beat Neil. He was a really good player at ECU. He was a good, solid basketball player in every facet of the game. But the main thing, too, he was good off the court and he was good on the court. And I'm not making this up. He's a guy that I can still see him playing. I can still see what he did.
Yep.
So he was a treat.
No doubt about it.
I'm going to need you to say that to my wife for me. That was quite the introduction. Checks in the mail.
I got you.
No doubt, Neil, with the very fact of I could see you still sitting on the bleachers watching you play, and I'll never forget just admiring. I was like, man, I wish I could shoot like Neil Punt. Your shot was just be 6'8", be a big man. Don't you think Cy had a nice touch?
Every part of his game was good. I mean, I'm not listen. He was what Joe Dooley looks for in a player. Joe looks for the best.
And Neil also, I'm gonna make one more point, and I'll let Kyle jump in here. Neil, the point that I'll make, you're from Minnesota, right, originally, and
correct.
You have Joe Dooley. For all the people that are going, oh my God, Jaden Gardner, oh my God, Jaden Gardner's gone. We would love to have Jaden Gardner. He was a great kid, but let's move on. Everybody take a deep breath. Don't drink caffeinated coffee if you're over caffeinated right now. Everything's going to be all right. If you're wondering about Joe Dooley found a guy like Neil Punt in the state of Minnesota and brought him to Greenville, North Carolina. How many coaches do you know? I'm looking. The proof is in the pudding. But how many guys that not only from Minnesota, but he could play basketball, and he's a nationwide kind of guy, not Greenville, North Carolina. As much as I love the state of North Carolina, he knows the whole nation. As Cy has told us, he knows every single school probably in the country, all the AAU coaches. Now we've got kids from Canada coming now. We're going to be talking about the guys we're bringing in. He's got a five-star kid from Canada coming in next season, for crying out loud. So, right, Neil? I mean, how you would have never known about Greenville, North Carolina if it hadn't been for Joe Dooley, right?
Joe can recruit. You know, I said that the minute they said they were bringing him back. I said he's going to get some. He's going to get some players down there. I mean, you know, Joe saw me at an AAU national tournament in Winston-Salem, and you know there was 10,000 kids there, but somehow he spotted me somehow, and you know he was on me from that day on. So, you know, I've said the story before. I was playing in a basketball tournament in Aruba after my junior year. Joe was sending me recruiting stuff to Aruba. Like he found my hotel in Aruba. And this is, you know, mid-90s. There was no internet or anything like that. He figured it out.
Wow.
Story, I was watching the tournament this year with my kids, and you know, I sent a Oklahoma fan. It came down between Joe Dooley and Porter Moser, where I was going to go play college basketball, and Joe Dooley out-recruited Porter Moser. The rest is history.
Yeah, that's Joe. I mean, that's how he works. And I just look up and I know Jaden's a loss, but you need to understand, I think this is, and this is kind of outspoken, I think truly if Jaden had stayed, he probably would have had his jersey retired. He would have had status that no one else has had. But from Jaden's point of view, he did not get recruited hard out of high school. And they won the state championship, you know, at his high school, and he's thinking, you know, I didn't get recruited hard. This is an opportunity for me to have a couple years, go somewhere with the COVID situation. So he looked hard to find a place and got a lot of national press and got recruited for the first time on a high level of majors. So I understand Jaden's point of view, but I will say, Jaden's got to do some things to make himself better at UVA. And I thought Joe Dooley got a lot out of Jaden, but there's some parts of his game that kind of hurt ECU, but his offensive effort was so great that you couldn't take him out of the ball game. He's going to a pack line defense. That is a defense that's more like a zone. Now you gotta play the weak side. He's got to learn to do that. The other part is this. The game at Virginia is patient. It is one that you want to move it you want to move it from side to side at least once. You want to move the basketball. Jaden's a guy that when you get it to him, he had free reign to score. Yep. He's not going to have that at Virginia. It's not going to be one touch and you take the shot. He's going to have to move it to the other side of the floor, and that's something he's got to adapt to.
You know, Cy, you made the point, and I heard somebody else make that point about how Jaden wasn't recruited highly coming out of high school, and you know now he gets a chance to be recruited and be doted over and told how great he is and come play for me, Jaden, and you know, but that's right. You're exactly right. He wasn't recruited heavy out of high school, and this isn't an indictment on Jaden Gardner. This is just a blanket statement. Whatever happened to loyalty and appreciation? I wasn't recruited highly out of high school. Joe, you recruited me. You gave me the opportunity, and I made the most of it. And by God, I'm going to stay here, and we're going to see this thing through and see if we can't get East Carolina into a postseason tournament before it's all said and done. And I'm done here. I remember Ruffin McNeil talking about when he committed to play for Coach. Oh my God, Pat Dye at East Carolina. You know, when he was being recruited
SMU one of them
to come here as a football player, and SMU was big time back then in football. And they were going to fly up to Robeson County and fly Coach Ruff down to Dallas for the weekend. And his mama said, "You ain't going to Dallas. You made a commitment to Pat Dye. You're going to East Carolina. You shook his hand and told him you were going there. You know,
Daddy did.
I just wonder in general, and this is an indictment on Jaden Gardner, but whatever happened to and I know people say, well, coaches leave. Yeah, they sure do. But I just, loyalty is just a thing of the past. It doesn't exist anymore. And this generation, Gen Z, if you will, the word loyalty just isn't a thing to them anymore.
Well, I think one of the things, and Neil was talking about a while ago, AAU has become much bigger. In the past 15 years, it's really become big. And kids are used to being able to switch teams, do whatever they want to do in the latest realm of AAU basketball. So you're right. I mean, look, think about it. Think back. Frank Robinson left us. Mike Cook left us. Elijah Hughes left us. We've had kids going in the last few years. You just lose them, and it's gotten worse. And like I said, now in the portal of people leaving, you're at 25% of the college athletic programs recruits or players on teams are in the portal. Now, a lot of it's got to do this year with the COVID, and they get the extra year. But they're going to change the rule that you get 1 year exception. You can go anywhere you want to go. So it is a different world, and I think it's going to drive coaches crazy. It's just very, very tough.
You know, there's a thing called the American Dream where you start out and if you work hard, then you can actually be somebody. Well, inside there, you see so many growing up. You saw all these guys that were freshmen, and you saw the glimpses of their greatness. And they would get some minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they'd score 6 or 8 points. You're like, man, that's our future in a couple of years. That guy right there, and with his junior, senior year, he is going to be somebody. Well, now it seems like that there's like American Idol, The Voice. Those people are told, you're a singer, you're great, you're going to be great. And I know AAU has its place, but at the same time, these coaches have got to be more like Joe Dooley and say, look, if you're going to be good, you got to be mentally tough. You got to do all these things. But all these coaches have got to stop babying these players and tell them how great they are, because not every player is great. I mean, I'm just being honest. I wasn't good enough to play that level basketball, and I love the game more than anybody, probably just about.
Yeah, I'd love to hear Neil talk about his growth from his freshman year to his senior year. He's bound to have a lot of input in that.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And talking about the recruiting, I mean, these coaches. It used to be I likened it to going to the Army recruiting office. You go to the office and it's great and everybody loves you, and then you're signed and you're in there and it's like, oh, it's a whole new world. But that's part of being an adult and growing up. And, as a freshman, I didn't know what I was doing, moving halfway across the country and, Joe's on me and the academic people are on you and the teachers are on you and, you're away from home. It's tough. So all of a sudden you start getting a little bug in your ear about, hey, come back home, come do this. I could see how that could be pretty enticing. Whereas you get to the point where you get to your sophomore, junior year, you've grown up, you've matured a little bit. You may make that move for a different reason. But, to get back to Jaden, we were going to lose him next year anyway. So you're going to have to replace him. It's a new world. He'll go get some guys, and like Cy said, he's been busy in the portal. So we'll be shocked and impressed with what he brings in here, I'm sure.
He had 2 years left because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing. One thing I wanted to mention is the fact that, Cy, you talked about it before. Here's a guy. He's going to get his number retired. Okay. He has a chance to be the best basketball player, maybe this side of Blue Edwards, as far as the stats are concerned. And you want to talk about a brand? Everybody talks about, since LeBron, a brand. You're a brand. You're a brand. What better brand to have than you were one of the best? And now you're going to be just a player that played at UVA. I'm just being honest. I'm not. If you're being objective about it, how do you want your brand? If you're Mr. Gardner who tells your son, you got to leave, you got to go up, well, you're giving him terrible advice, because how do you know that Virginia is the best fit for him? In other words, where he's going to get better, because you want him to go to the NBA. we don't have everybody wants Jay Gardner. He's a great kid. We want him to go to the NBA. But how is UVA? The question I'm asking, Mr. Gardner, you can come on our show anytime. I'm man enough, and I'll ask you right here on here. How is your son going to improve to go to the NBA by playing at UVA? Please tell me that question.
Yeah. Well, here's the great thing for a guy like me, because I have seen this kind of stuff. I love Jay. I wish him the best of luck. Yeah. But I know this: we're moving on, and we're going to find players. That's how I look at it. I think that Jaden had things that he wanted to do. He's given us 3 good years, as Neil said, and what you do is you move on and wish him the best of luck. But I can assure you, it's a new road for him, and he's going to have to get his way. But I'm excited about what we're doing and how hard we're working to improve the program this coming year. And in fairness to Joe, and I say this all the time, the first year he walked into APR issues, grades, everything else. He spent a year just trying to get everybody up to a grade point average that we didn't get in trouble. So he brings in his kids. They play 1 year. Now you're going into the next year with them because you didn't have that. You bring them in the next year second. This is their second year. We'll get it done. We go through the preseason. We play great. And then COVID hit us around Christmas. And the month of February, I think Joe said he had 5 practices. I tell you, the other team that hit hard, SMU got hit hard. A lot of schools did. But you can't even judge the third year. That's my whole thing. Joe's had 1 year of a team. And then when he played at the beginning of the year, he beat Charlotte, which we don't use, JMU, which we don't use, Wilmington. He had a good run, and then COVID killed him.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this: with the transfer portal, one thing I've always thought about East Carolina basketball, and I've said consistently, I've always wondered if we could truly build a program here because we have trouble recruiting locally. And I've always thought until we can get players from Kinston and, the surrounding area, we ain't never going to be able to build a program. That's kind of always been my thought. We're never going to out-recruit UNC, NC State, et cetera. But with the transfer portal now, for a school like East Carolina, could it actually end up becoming a positive where now you can kind of recruit through the portal and you could get some kids maybe who, did go to another ACC school, but they didn't get the playing time they wanted, and now they want to come back home?
Well, I think the portal is just another avenue to recruit, period. And like Jankovic at SMU has said, he's probably just going to recruit the portal from here on out. It is another whole you don't get Winston Tabbs. We're getting Winston Tabbs, who averaged 13 to 14 points in the Atlantic Coast Conference. He's a guard. He got 18 against State. He is a player, and Joe's got him coming in. That's a really big high recruit. He is looking. Trust me on this one. That's all I can tell you. He's on top of a lot of kids in the portal right now. Probably going to sign at least 2 more kids out of the portal. So and he's close on them. I can't say any more than that. But I'm just simply saying the luck we've had on him. We missed on a couple that have already signed with other universities that we were very, very close on. And he's out there, and there's still plenty out there. That's the whole thing that's crazy. I think there are kids that we can get and kids that can play, and we're in good shape. We just got to have a break. That's the main thing. Tabbs is a break. That's one of them. But he's got other players. To me, I think his recruiting class is very good. I mean, kid from South Carolina, the first thing, I was talking to Greg Pierce, one of his friends who's a high school coach in Columbia, the kid from South Carolina, Yerrick Shanneman, is a coach in South Carolina. He's won 3 out of 4 state championships at the 4A level. As soon as we signed Russell Felton, he called Pierce and said, "You just got a really player. You got a player." And he's going to be a player. Reyes is a player that he's getting in. The big kid from Canada is a player. The big kid that we signed over, and think about what we did. We signed over UCF, Virginia Tech, and Georgia, Jaquan Scott, who's 6'8". There are kids coming in. He's just trying to complement what we've got, and he's working himself to the bone. and let's hope Joe can get these kids in here. And we need to be patient and let him do it. And Joe is working like today. I mean, they're in that portal every day.
So did Jaden leaving open us up to some players in the portal that maybe wouldn't be interested in coming here if Jaden was staying?
Well, I think it frees up offensively what you can do, and now it changes how you play defense. I mean, it opens up your offensive game. Look, you had to go to Jaden. He was your go-to guy, but defensively now it opens it up to probably a higher level on the defensive end, things you can do that you can't do with a 6'4" power or 6'6" power forward. So you get something good out of it in that realm. But offensively, it also changes because you can move it and get it spread out a little more. So everything changes on this thing. But the truth is, a couple of good recruits here, and we can take it to another level. And that's what I'm hoping can happen in the portal. The next two guys we get, that they take us to another level. And so I'm not disappointed at all. I love what we recruited, and now let's see what we get in the portal. And you got some kids coming back. We're sitting here saying stuff, but Suggs is a good player. Tristan Newton, personally, I think Tristan Newton, all around, is a top American conference player.
Hey, by the way, Cy and Neil, when we have you guys on, our ratings are always great. I'm looking at it right now. So, speaking of which, Bubba, I know that we've got a lot of comments, right?
Yeah, Richard Allsbrook chimes in. He said, "Please, Cy, Seymour don't ever enter the transfer portal." And then he goes on to say, "How does Coach Dooley stay positive with the current climate in NCAA transfer portal and now the no wait rule in terms of being able to transfer and not have to sit out a year?"
Let me tell you the way I feel, and Neil, you speak to this after I talk. Joe's a grinder. He's going to find the players. Joe doesn't know but one thing. How do I get better? How do I work at it? He keeps his head down, and that's what he does. And he's right now, I just want you to understand, he's working it as hard as he can, and he's close on several kids, but he's already got a Power 5 ACC top guard. That's one. And I think he's looking at a couple of other guys, top level, from other conferences that he's very close on. So you got to stay positive. But the truth is, I've always believed you can win at ECU in basketball. I think we put too much emphasis on other leagues. We don't have to do that. You just got to take care of your own. You get the right recruits in, we'll be fine. But Neil, as far as you, what's your take on Joe as a personality and giving up? Do you see it?
Oh yeah, that's not going to happen. If we were losing, losing was just another level of miserable playing for Joe. And I'm sure he's lightened up over the years. But yeah, he's gonna play the hand that's dealt, and he's not even worried about it. He's figured it out, and now he's working it, and he's trying to do the best of his ability, and he'll have some guys in here.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Now, Cy, some of those guys that you mentioned, Johnny Gardner chimed in talking about Jaquan Scott, saying he's definitely an AAC caliber player with his athletic ability, like guys we face night in, night out in the American. And him and Felton certainly looked apart.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Reyes, too. Reyes is a really top notch. Reyes had on his list of teams that were looking at him hard, DePaul, Creighton, Georgetown, and UMass in Illinois. They were all on him. He's a 6'7" guy that can run the floor. He can jump. He can shoot. And he's a great athlete. And look, I'm leaving out the other guys. The other big man can also go. I like Lester. I like the kid from Canada, out of New York. I mean, he's 6'9", and looking at films and what he can do, he's a different kind of athlete. So I'm excited about what we have coming in. But the problem is they're going to be freshmen. And you got to get some kids that can match up and get them prepared in the right way. And I think that's what Joe's doing. He's got, look, you think about it, he's got Newton back. He's got, when Suggs back, he's got Luigi back. He's got 4 or 5 guys And then when you add 3 portal guys, if you can, and then you take your freshman, then you're in good shape. So let's look up and look at it that way.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, very quickly, Dave, what size saying, from the standpoint of a lot of folks who obviously don't follow it extremely closely, were extremely surprised when they see 6 guys entering the transfer portal. Well, with the exception of Jaden Gardner, it really wasn't surprising at all.
Yeah, no. Minnesota had 10. I mean, that's how crazy it all is. Listen, I'll give you SMU. SMU had the Metro Area Player of the Year coming back from Atlanta. 6'6" player left. He had the Rookie of the Year out of the Pac-10. He was a shooter, 6'2", lit us up, left-hander, could really play. He left. His big poke, Farron Hunt, went into the draft. That's 3. The other guard, Ed Davis, who was the player of the year, is unbelievable. He's entered the draft, but he did not sign an agent, so he might get him back. Jaquan, the other 6'9" forward, entered the portal. We're not talking about fluke. We're talking about players. This team was as good as any team. He had 6 guys, players that entered the portal. That's the kind of stuff that's going on. Look, the Tyson Jolly, there's another one. We recruited Tyson Jolly. He was 6'7", and we worked hard. He was an All-American junior college kid. He goes to SMU. Here's another one. Tyson Jolly enters the portal. He had a great year. He's good. He's everything. He goes to Patino at Iona. He just signed with Iona and Patino. That's the kind of kids that SMU lost. So it's the wild, wild west. I mean, it's crazy out there in the portal. And Joe is looking to get some of these kids. South Florida, 6 of them. One of them being Alexei Yetna, who is a 6'8" step-out guy, and he signed with somebody today. But he was a heck of a player.
So I had a quick question regarding recruiting, and then we have our good buddy Pirate Al had a point he was going to make. Can't go wrong with Pirate Al off the top rope. But anyway, so as far as recruiting is concerned, very frustrating I'd imagine, for high school coaches. But so what about these seniors from the class of say 22 and beyond? How do they make their mark? Is it going to hurt them, the high school recruiting route?
It'll balance out soon, but it's still a mess. I feel sorry for kids. This is not the same, but baseball kids. I felt so sorry for baseball kids that are really good players that didn't get seen all summer or last spring that were seniors. That is so difficult. I think that'll balance out, but it has been very, very difficult for everybody. I will say this. My son is a high school coach, and he was at Wake Forest High School. He has now left and come back our ways at Jones Senior. But Wes Miller just took the job at Cincinnati. And then there's another school that lost 6 guys. But Wes took that job. And my son called me and said, Dad, he's the one college coach that his recruiters come to games and talk to you after games, or that he had seen in his 7 years or 6 years at Wake Forest. He said he really worked it the way you're supposed to work it. So I'm happy for Wes Miller. He's a traditional guy. Now, don't get me wrong. He's going to get them out of the portal. He's going to look at AAU coaches. But he also really looks keenly at the high school coaches. And I think that's important thing. And I think Joe Dooley does that. I think Joe Dooley knows your high school coach and your AAU coach.
So, like Dave said, and we have a point and then also a question from Pirate Al. He says, enjoying the show. Man, I have a lot to say and ask. This new transfer rule is horrendous. No more building a program. You're building a team on a yearly basis. It's going to kill high school recruiting. You're better off recruiting the portal because they can only transfer once, or they can only transfer once without having to sit. And once that happens, you have them. And then he went on to say, what positions do you think Joe will address with the remaining scholarships? And that's actually a question I had for you, Cy, because you referenced Josh Carlton. He chose Houston. And then I know we've been on some guards in the portal, like the Lott kid out of Florida. He chose Louisville, I believe. And then you also have one Horn out of Illinois State, who's going to be making his decision, on Saturday. But you think it will be one big and then one guard that can shoot the three pretty well?
I think there'll be one big, and I would think there would be a shooting guard in it. Now, I'm not sure about that, but that's what I would say too. And Pirate Al's right; he's right on every bit of what he just said. It's a crazy world right now that we're doing with this stuff, and I think Joe's got three. I'm not sure which way he'll go, but I would think one's going to be a big, and then where do you go from there? I think he's looking at maybe another big, and he might need and he's got to get a shooter. I think you've got to have one more shooter, but we'll see what happens. But I agree with you. I think. Listen, this is how crazy it is, and this is just philosophically for me. You're Bill Self out there. Now think about it. Chris Beard just took the job at Texas. Baylor just won their league and won the national championship. Self has had a really great run and a tremendous coach at Kansas. That is their lifeblood. Now all of a sudden, Chris Beard gets a $6 or $7 million contract. He signs one of the chief recruiters from Kansas, and he comes to Texas. Then he signs the head coach from Texas El Paso and paid him near $1 million to come over to Texas. It's a shootout. They're spending money like crazy. I was thinking they're going to have 10 to 12 million in their coaching staff at Texas, and that's wild money. And then so I'm just saying, if I'm Bill Self over there, and this is our sport, it's tough on a guy like that. That whole world has moved to basketball, which is unusual. That league was great out there this year.
Hey, Neil, I wanted to ask you, as far as these young guys and everything, what do you see the future of college basketball? I guess that I'm like a dinosaur now, being 48 years old and seeing a guy, you don't have to pay your dues anymore. So I guess what I call the transfer rule and this transfer portal has created a free agency for college basketball. But what's your take on where do you think we go from here?
Like Cy's been saying, it's going to level out a little bit. A lot of these kids that go into the portal, they're going to realize there's not going to be, spots for them, or the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But it's definitely never going to go back to the game where it was, where, you had your blue bloods dominating year in and year out because they were getting these 3- and 4-star recruits that just stayed there for 4 or 5 years. So that's really changed the game as well. That's why you see all these every year. There's a mid-major or a low major that's making the Final Four. If you'd have said that 25 years ago, you would have said it's crazy. When Gonzaga made its first run in the late 90s, nobody had ever heard of them. But now it's kind of like, that kind of makes the tournament good that you got all these little upstart teams every year. So I think the portal can help, and it could help us get those guys like you guys were talking about earlier that we may not have had a shot at initially.
I think Neil's right on. I think, and listen, we sit here and we minimize. I know we didn't have a great year, but we beat the number 4. We beat one of the teams in the Final Four.
And beat them convincingly.
That beat Syracuse by about 13 or 17, whatever they did, and they were in the Final Four. That's what Neil is saying. You can get players now, and you can beat people. And I think I'm looking bright at the future of college basketball at East Carolina. I really am. I think our problem, and it's nobody's fault. We grew up at a time, most of us, where Duke, North Carolina, the Big Four, that's all you ever heard. That's all we ever heard. But the truth is, there's so much parity out there right now. I mean, look, UConn's won 5 national championships in the last 20 years. It's crazy. And listen, Villanova's won 2 or 3. I mean, it is wide open if you will just emphasize it and stay with it. Because I can tell you this, and this is one thing is the truth. if ECU fans get behind ECU, that will be the toughest place to play. One of the toughest in the country. Because I've been to we go everywhere. I've been to Memphis. I've been to Houston. I've been to Cincinnati. When ECU's right, if we get it right in there, there's nothing like Minji's. There's nothing like Dowdy Ficklin. There's nothing like the baseball field. We have a passionate group of fans. We just got to have a break and get a couple of breaks in winning, and we can really be tough.
Hey, Cy, two memories come to mind. Obviously, we were not there for the Houston win this year, but that upset against Cincinnati, oh my gosh, that was my kids. My kids, I want them to experience they have with baseball, and they've got a little bit with football, and that's headed in the right direction. The basketball we have, but the very fact that for us that we have now that Newton shot, that buzzer beater he had against SMU.
Yeah.
My daughter said, Daddy was acting crazy. He was going crazy. He was telling my mom, like telling on me like a little 5-year-old girl. Daddy was acting crazy, and she had never seen me that excited about an ECU basketball game, which I am excited. But to have like a last-second shot, a buzzer beater.
Look, people don't understand that the year that we won the CIT, Akeem Richmond hit the shot. They were all transferred. Think about who we had. The point guard was from Missouri. Akeem was from Rhode Island. The center was from South Carolina. And the power forward was from Alabama, a transfer junior college. And then you had Robert Sampson, who was here, who Terry got. But 5 of the guys, that's how crazy it all is now. But what I want to tell you about that team, the last time they played they beat Evansville by as bad as they wanted to beat them, by 35, okay, in Greenville to advance to the championship game of that tournament. Wichita State was in the Final Four. Evansville had beaten them twice that year. They beat them twice during the regular season. I'm telling you, that team, we could play with anybody at any time, that team. And that's what can happen. We didn't understand it. We didn't understand it. We kind of took it like, it's the CIT. No, it was 10,000 people pulling against us, and it was a good team at Weber State that we beat. And my point too is, we take that light. That was a heck of a win, but we didn't build on it. If we could have built on that, I think we could have kept going. Now it's a time to just get it going, and once you get it going, you can really be tough.
I know both of you unfortunately have to go with time constraints. Is there anything that you want to tell us before we let you go?
I'd say just keep giving it time. Just, I was upset as anybody, when I saw the news, Noah leaving, and then Jaden going, and you're just like, holy cow. So, but you just got to give it time. Trust Joe, trust the process. And to Cy's point, he's really had one real true year with his guys. So he's kind of going back to square one a little bit, but he'll get it figured out.
And I'll tell you something. When I hear Neil, the coaching comes back in me, and you love that guy. I'm just telling y'all, he is what it was all about. I'm telling you, great player, great attitude, tremendous guy. But don't give up on ECU. This is too good a school, too good of athletic programs. Our biggest problem is we sell ourselves too light. That's our biggest problem. Do not pay attention to what happens 60 miles from here. Pay attention to ECU. Don't compare. Get your program right. That's all you can do. And I can tell you, we'll get there, but hang in there.
With the program, as far as changing players so much, I'm going to need both of you on speed dial. Is that okay?
I'm ready anytime. Ready anytime.
Guys, thank you so much. A huge honor to have both of you on. It's been so much fun, and that's why the time has gone by very fast. I know you'll have to run. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll have you on again real soon.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Take care. Bye-bye. Our East Carolina basketball roundtable. Appreciate Seymour. And, of course, Neil Punt there. Guys, tremendous effort as always. A-plus effort from both those guys. And certainly we'll bring Kyle from LaGrange back in. How are you, Kyle?
I'm good, Dave. I was just here.
Yeah, we've got you back. Good to have you back.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Like dropped off, and now you're back.
I am. Yeah, I got disconnected. Now I'm back.
All right, good.
And Cy and Neil left while I was gone.
Yeah, they did. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw the news, but while we were doing the show, they gave the, as far as the dead period is no longer as of June 1st for recruiting.
Yeah, I heard that was coming the other day. So I'm glad it's official. Guys can visit campuses and get official visits and everything else. So that's good. Things need to get back to normal, and they need to get back to normal now. Not just in athletics, but in general. But glad to hear that. That's great for all the coaches.
That starts on June the 1st. So there you go.
Yep, great
June
for all
the
the
1st.
coaches, players, everybody.
By the way, I'm going to put you on the spot. When are we going to get you to pencil roll at Dowdy Fickle Stadium? I want to see that. I want to see that happen.
Dave, look, I've explained this before, and I'm going to explain it to you again. All right? It's not that I think pencil rolling is easy. I'm a very, very large guy, okay? Big dude, obese, if you will. And I got bad knees, okay? So we had this conversation. I said I'd rather do anything than run. Yes, I'd rather pencil roll. I'd rather crab walk. I'd rather
bear claw.
Huh?
What about bear claw?
Bear claw. Yeah, I could eat some bear claws. Anything but run.
Yeah, he meant bear crawl.
Bear crawl. Oh yeah, I can do some bear claws. But anything but run. So this whole pencil roll thing. This whole do I think I could pencil roll Dowdy Fickle like I'm some kind of pencil rolling expert? No, I'm a big fat slob, Dave. But you're asking me. The conversation we were having was about running. I said I'd rather pencil roll it than run it. I'm running is not an option for me. I got bad knees, and I'm a fat ass.
Do you think you could jog? Let me ask you this: couldn't you jog like from one end of the field to the other, the 100 yards, 110 yards, actually?
What do you consider a jog?
Well, more than a walk. I mean, your feet are moving. What do you think, Bubba? Bubba's the expert on that. I mean, I'll let him. He's a physical education coach and a teacher. That's more his expertise than mine. But what would you say? Because I think Kyle could actually.
You have that fraction of a second where both feet are not in contact with the ground.
What do you think, Kyle? I think you could jog. I think you could jog the length of the stadium with ease, a lot easier than a pencil rolling. I really do. But that's just.
Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know why this is an obsession with you about me pencil rolling the damn stadium. I'll tell you what.
I think it'll be funny.
Why don't you lay on the ground and let me roll over you and we'll see how that goes.
I'm a smart man. I don't want that to happen.
I mean, let's just see how it works out for you.
I never committed to that, did I, Bubba?
Roll over you with a truck.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
Hey guys, something I noticed earlier today, I wanted to see if you had heard about this. Obviously, much has been made in the last several months as far as Deion Sanders getting that job at Jackson State.
Yeah, done too well.
Yeah, they destroyed Edward Waters, and like you would expect in their first game, and then since it's been ugly. But did y'all notice that Eddie George, the former Heisman Trophy winner, standout at Ohio State? Tennessee State hired him, and then Jeff Fisher, his former coach with Tennessee, is a consultant.
No, I didn't. That's interesting. But I didn't see that. But Deion, I do know not very successful year one Jackson State. So it'll be interesting to see how things go at Tennessee State with their hire.
And guys, with all due respect, because I haven't coached at that level, but just because somebody's a great star at a sport doesn't mean they're going to be a great coach.
I would suggest the other way. I would say most of the time they won't be.
Yep. So I don't think Michael Jordan would be a great coach.
No, he's not, and he wouldn't be. No, and it's I those who can't coach is the reason that's the saying. I mean, you give me a good example in the modern era, and maybe there is one, and I'm just not thinking of it. Give Spurrier. You want to consider that modern era? Give me guys who were great players, Heisman Trophy winners, or NFL stars that became great head coaches at the college level. Either
Help me,
one of
Bubba,
you
because
got
I'm drawing.
have y'all got another example? Or
this guy's still this guy is still relatively early on in his career. Standout quarterback at Nebraska, Scott Frost, obviously
Right.
did well at UCF, but
right. But I wouldn't put
the
Scott
book's
Frost
still
on
being
that
written.
level. Yeah.
Right. Oh no, certainly not. I mean, that
Not like
book's still
Heisman.
being written.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't, maybe Spurrier was even a bad example because he didn't do anything in the league, just a Heisman Trophy winner. But I just don't. Sometimes I wonder if somebody like Peyton Manning could be a good coach, just because of his personality. But he seems to have no interest in it. But I don't. This will be interesting to see. Certainly good press for the HBCUs with Jackson State and Tennessee State, and
No doubt.
It'll be
one example in basketball right off the bat, Jaquan Howard and what he's doing at Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
Yeah.
He was really good college and pro, so that's a good point, Bubba.
But generally speaking, I would tend to agree with you. Without just sitting down and coming up with the examples, you tend to see the guys that are, the walk-ons, the gym rats, and the guys who really pour their heart and soul into it, but maybe don't have the ability. A guy like a
Lincoln Riley.
Blake Harrell or Lincoln Riley, absolutely. Better example. Nothing against Coach Harrell because he's obviously done very well at defensive coordinator and the stops that he's been, and I think he will at East Carolina. But yeah, Lincoln Riley, there you go, a walk-on quarterback at Texas Tech, and then he hung it up and got an early start on his coaching career.
Yep.
No question. What about here's a great example. What about Coach Logan?
He never played college football at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he didn't even play, and he was a great football coach in a D1 school. And think about the pressure at East Carolina to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Mike Leach.
Oh, yeah. Good example. So, I'm sure.
Pretty much everybody. I don't really know, without looking at it. I don't know. Guys played Division I ball were successful that are head coaches, yes. But I'm talking about stars. There's not very many guys who were star players that are head coaches and successful at it. There's just not.
No question about it. I really think that when you look at Coach Houston, Coach Houston's going to kill it. What about you have Cliff Godwin, who's was a great player and a great coach?
Well, yeah, but Cliff didn't go on and play for the Yankees. He was a great college player and he's a great college coach. But we're talking about guys who became stars.
So you mean like a Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
Brady.
You don't even have to go that extreme. But when we're talking Deion Sanders, but even a level down from that, you don't see Jose Canseco being a great coach. Tony Guinn, what has he done? Has Tony Guinn become a huge successful college coach?
He passed away.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for him to coach.
Well, Tony Guinn the head coach of San Diego at one time in basketball?
He San Diego State, and when he was the head coach at San Diego State, he had him certainly trending in the right direction. He was the head coach there when what's his name from the Nationals that throws 100 miles an hour. Help me out, Dave.
Strasburg.
Yeah, Steven Strasburg.
Right, but Guinn never took them to, they weren't nominating the Mountain West. I did not realize Tony Guinn had passed away. This is news to me. When did Tony Guinn die?
It was a few years ago, right, Bubba? It wasn't.
It wasn't just a few months ago.
Wow, how did I miss? Maybe I forgot. I don't know.
And guys, just 1 second. I'm trying to get Sam Raz on. We'll have a little version of On Deck as we preview tomorrow and this weekend against the Houston Cougars.
Yeah, he passed away June the 16th, 2014, at the age of 54.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was one of my favorite baseball players of all time, and that was like a real gut punch. Even though I was not a. Speaking of, by the way, guys, speaking of loyalty, how about him staying there with the Padres? You know, I mean,
Yeah, he was with the Padres a long time. Again, I don't. Maybe it's just one of those things I forgot that he had passed away. But, geez, reference a guy not being a successful head coach. Well, he died, Kyle.
yeah, I wasn't trying to be mean to you. I just because it wasn't a slight on you.
Like Bubba said, he was trending. He had San Diego State trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have got him there. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He definitely could help them with the hitting, right? Oh, my God. He had this beautiful, beautiful – I don't want to go off on a tangent, but he had a beautiful swing.
Yeah.
One of the all-time greats for sure. How about what are your thoughts, Kyle, this weekend? Pirates going into Houston as we try to get Sam Raz on the show. But you're going to have to take, if you can, you got to obviously take 3 out of 4, but man, it would be nice if you could get a mop out this weekend.
I mean, it's on the road. We got 5 losses, 4 of them have been on the road.
Yep.
Houston's not played well in league play so far. Of course, they played Wichita State both weekends, so who knows how they're doing against somebody else. 3 out of 4 on the road would be nice. If we could get 4 out of 4 would be great, but you can't expect to win every series 4 out of 4.
No, I don't.
But no, with the early bid date, for the regionals, with them announcing host sites early May. Yeah, I guess we're really 3 weeks out now from the regional sites have been announced. We need to win all the games we can right now because you don't want to take a hit in the RPI. That's the problem with Houston not being as good as they normally are. If you go 2-2 against Houston, it's gonna mess with you in the RPI.
Exactly, and you would like to think we could get 3 out of 4 against Houston, but again, like Coach Godwin always talks about, baseball is such a funny sport. You could lose. You could be on the verge of only winning 1 and winning all 4.
The thing of it is, we're 8-0 already in league play. So if we were just trying to, if it was a situation where we were, all right, let's just try to win the conference. You go, all right, 2-2 on the road, you're in good shape. You're already 8-0. But being what it is, and we're trying to host a regional and hopefully be a national seed, and those regional sites being announced early, you really need to win right now. So that's added pressure to the guys, whether they talk about it or not. They're aware of it. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'd certainly like to at least win 3 out of 4 and stay hot and keep going and keep rolling. What is the schedule there, guys? When is the doubleheader? Are we playing? We playing 2 tomorrow, 2 Saturday.
Friday.
Yep, 2 tomorrow.
2 Friday.
3 and 8:30 on Friday, and then 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then noon on Sunday.
All right.
But yeah, like you're saying, Kyle, and like several other folks have said, I mean, it's so hard to sweep 4 games, especially on the road. And I know that's stating the obvious, but at the same time, like a lot of folks probably just think, well, Houston's lost 7 out of their last 8 against Wichita State in the last 2 series, so we should go down there and sweep them. And I think we'll win the series, but if I had to predict it right now, I think we'll probably go 3-1. Could we go 4-0 again? Sure. But I think we'll probably go 3-1 if I had to guess. And I mean, this is a Houston team, even though they struggled of late, and I don't know exactly what they may or may not be battling in terms of COVID or injuries, etc. But early on, they took 1 out of 3 at home against Texas, a team that's in the top 5 now, if I'm not mistaken. Texas is pretty highly ranked, if I recall correctly, and they split a pair of 1-run games and then dropped the game 3. So
no, they're more the game.
And you got to feel like, guys, with the first 2 weekends playing against probably the second best team, or they could, Wichita State could, who knows what's going to happen with them. But you can make an argument that Houston, their backs are against the wall, and they could come out being a home series and pure desperation. I mean,
I'll tell you what, Houston sure did draw a short end of the stick. Now, you got that right. Wichita State the first 2 weekends and East Carolina the third weekend. That's some bull crap right there if I'm a Cougar fan. Yeah, that's no fun at all. But the good thing about it is, once this is done with, it should all be uphill from there. So I guess that's one way to look at it for the Cougs. But you're right, it could be backs against the wall, and they go home and at least want to win two, obviously. And we're saying at least that they can win the damn series. I mean, that turns our whole season upside down in terms of what we want to accomplish. I mean, guys, Bubba, what do you think right now with the early regional sites? How key is it that we win every series between now and mid-May?
I think it's pretty big the way things sit with where things are with the league for sure. I think. I mean, you look at it right now. We're 26-5. We play 24 games from here on out. Assuming we're able to get them all in, 16 of those 24 will be on the road. So I think we could probably have a 2-2 weekend, assuming we win the other series and still accomplish our goals. But anything more than 1-2-2 weekend. And if we had a couple of 2-2 weekends, I think we would be pushing it.
Well, here's another thing, guys.
I think we could do 2-2 weekends if we got a 4-0 in there. If we didn't go 2-2, 3-1, 3-1, if we how many series do we play before May? The announcements comes May 11th, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
How many series do we play between now and then? 3 or 4?
Well, next up so you have Houston this weekend. You'll have UCF coming back home, and then so the next two series are crucial, guys. And
the third, you need a calendar in front of you for the dates.
Yeah, I know, but then you have after that you have at Wichita State in 3 weeks.
What is
it's the four? It's 4. It's 4. 4.
What's the date of the Wichita State series?
That will be coming up May April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd, and then you have the home against Tulane. That Tulane series will be May 7th with the doubleheader Friday night, and then you have Saturday the 8th and 9th will be so May 9th will be that Sunday game. Home against Tulane will be your last game before that critical deadline.
Okay, and so we have 2 home series and 2 road series between now and then.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's correct. So you feel like that? You feel like this the series that you need to hold par would be the Wichita State.
Well, let's just say, to play devil advocate, what Bubba was saying. Let's say we go 2-2 this weekend, but then we go 4-0 next weekend. I think we could probably do 2-2 against Wichita if Wichita keeps winning, as long as we handle our business against Tulane. Rather not do that, rather at least take 3 this weekend. But I think if one of those two, if we do 2 2-2s, if one of them's against Wichita State, I think we'd probably be all right to host. But
well, Kyle, if we did that, 2 splits, as you said, and then a 4-0, and then let's say a 3-1, that would be 11-5, I think. And so you'd be looking at 37-10.
Yeah, that still sounds pretty salty.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to do that, obviously, but this early announcement for the regional stresses me out. I don't like it at all.
Well, from the standpoint of putting the pressure, and then what if you peak too early? The very fact of
I said that to Corey. I said, I guarantee you somebody's going to end up getting a regional and then end up being a 3 seed. They're going to end up hosting as a 3, or they may even get sent out of their own regional. I think the NCAA would be pretty stupid to do that to somebody. So, let's say East Carolina falls apart and we got a hosting site and we end up as a 3 seed or a 2 seed, and then they send us to another regional. But I hope they would.
And they let UNC host the regional here.
Oh,
that would be
God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Pirate fans?
Look, hey, you know what? I would welcome them putting us as a 2 seed in Greenville with UNC as the 1. I'd welcome that. Do it. It. I dare you.
I love it. Kyle from LaGrange, baby. Vintage Kyle from LaGrange.
I mean, Bubba, how about you? Would you like that scenario where we're the 2 seed in Greenville with UNC as the 1 seed?
No, just because I don't want to lose. I don't want to put ourselves in that situation where it happens. But I understand what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't either, because then you probably wouldn't be in a position to be a super regional host. But I'm just saying, I guarantee you we'd win that regional.
Yeah, I prefer let's just dominate and not have to worry about.
No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. Let's take care of business and be a top 8 seed, and if we can win our regional, end up as a super host.
It's going to be great. In fact, by the way, fans, don't forget about this Sunday. We'll have extra innings brought to you by Next Level Training Center. I want to give a shout out to Trent and Gaynell Brett. They've been very good to us and sponsoring the whole season for extra innings and the support of the program. We feel we're very indebted to you guys, grateful, appreciative. It's where the next level, you can take yourself to the next level. And obviously, don't forget about their Facebook page. Kyle, you got to check out their Facebook page. It is absolutely awesome where they put different players up there and how they're doing, and they actually train there. Stuff like that up there is really cool. Factoids, if you will, about former players or players that have trained there. So check that out. And
y'all
also,
remember that guy? Y'all remember Factoid from the message boards?
Yes, a good family friend of mine, Pat Lane.
Yeah, he was always he used to would post things and you kind of get on your nerves, but then you realize he actually pretty much knew what he was talking about, and me and him ended up having a pretty good relationship.
did y'all go out for coffee or anything?
No, but apparently him and Bubba did. He just said he was a family friend.
Yeah, my dad and I made some road trips with him back in the day. When I was in middle school, we went up to Army in '95. That was a lot of fun, and I think he and his wife had lived in New York at one point, so he knew some places to take my dad and I. It was a lot of fun getting to check out the Plaza Hotel, and I believe a really nice Italian restaurant named Carmine's or something.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
The night before going to West Point.
They actually kicked Bubba out when he called it a restaurant.
A restaurant, yeah. Sorry, restaurant. Yeah, sorry.
You're good, Bubba. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's not the first time. My dad kids me sometimes when I get. I don't always pronounce it that way, but when I do, my dad gives me a tough time. He's like a restaurant.
A restaurant. That's right.
Restaurant. Sorry.
Your high dollar restaurant, Kyle.
But yeah, we made that trip to West Point with Pat, and then also multiple trips to West Virginia and different games.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, just hearing that word made me think of him as a poster and some of his posts on Boneyard Banner and Hoist the Colors a little bit later. But good guy.
Hey, by the way, don't forget about our good friend. Speaking of a great guy, before I forget, I want to make sure we give Kaz a shout out. Mackenzie is so excited for her first softball game because she got her PGX gloves in the mail on Monday, and she said, Daddy, you put my name on it. That's right. They have the personalized stuff. Her favorite color is red, so we got her the red gloves, and it has Mackenzie on it. And she is just tickled to death, over the moon. Her favorite song, one of her favorite songs, by the way, is "Eye of the Tiger." So she got of course, the tiger gloves, the batting gloves, and she is just so excited. While we were on the show tonight, guys, she had her iPad and she was listening to "Eye of the Tiger." So it made me think about, don't forget about pgxgloves.com. Kyle, they have everything, don't they?
Yeah, batting gloves, golfing gloves, obviously, for all you golfers out there. We're in the middle of golfing season, I guess, if you will, and go get you some golf gloves or some gloves for your kids for Little League, pgsgloves.com, and check out the swag. They got that Welcome to the Jungle hoodie up there right now. Pretty cool for all you Pirate baseball fans. Go check that out. Click swag at pgxgloves.com and get yourself a Welcome to the Jungle hoodie. Put in code ECU and save yourself some cash at checkout.
I was walking off yesterday, and there was actually Kyle knows where I was at a park, and they were fishing, and they literally
I
were
told
playing.
you not to talk about that park.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Ixnay on the parquet.
And guess what song they were playing? Welcome to the Jungle.
All right, nice. What park were you actually at?
Mortuck.
Oh, yeah, Mortuck Park. Okay, all right. You're walking there on the road now. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I walk up. Bubba and I were talking on the phone, and I hang up, and all of a sudden I walk up, and they're playing "Welcome to the Jungle." I was so excited because I was
They
like,
did it. Is it Mortuck, or is it's somewhere down in the same area where Mortuck Park is, in that little area? You know, there the fishing ramp and all that. They put a really nice fishing pier out there that goes out a long way. Have you walked out
"It's
there?
close by." Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
No, I didn't. Yes, I know what you're talking about. No, I didn't, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's nice. It's really, really surprising though. Somebody spent some money on that.
No doubt. Bubba, did you want to put up the comment from Richard? Or Richard Osbrook? He was talking about Ole Miss and Arkansas baseball. About how they had 11,000 fans packed with no mask or social distancing, and he's hoping we can take care of business in a couple months and pack out Clark LeClaire. That's Richard. That's what I've been talking about. If we're going to have to deal with this COVID mess and we don't have any fans, let's have the fans for the regional. And I'm telling you, we're going to host our first super regional in Greenville this year because it's a crazy year and we have a great team and it's going to happen for sure. I have a good feeling about it. So, unfortunately, we didn't know what happened last year because they cut the season short, but this year I feel very, very confident, especially guys with the pitching with those 4 games. Dietrich was, he was chomping at the bit, salivating, licking his chops, so to speak, knowing that we had a lot of great pitching and it favors us all the way down the stretch, including the regional and super regional.
Whoa, we got double Bubba.
Yeah. And like the Doublemint twins.
All right.
No question. You guys have anything before we go?
Yeah, I got nothing. Just looking forward to the series this weekend at Houston, and hopefully we keep right on rolling. And we're having long conversations well into June and about Pirate baseball.
No question.
Take care of business this weekend, Pirates, and we'll talk to you on Sunday evening when we're joined by Trent Britt of Next Level Training Center, and then also Coach Gary Overton, winningest coach in East Carolina baseball history. Those gentlemen will join us as we break down what took place between the Pirates and Cougs.
And Kyle, you can ask him all the questions about, is this a good idea for the early regionals announcements, since he's been on the selection committee and works regionals each year. A regional each year.
Well, even if he says it's a good idea, I'm going to tell him it's a terrible idea. With all due respect to Coach Gary Overton.
All right, guys. The next time, good luck to the Pirates, and of course, I haven't even looked, guys, this week to be honest. What the games on all on ESPN Plus?
They are. They're all on ESPN Plus. So excellent news there.
No doubt, and you can listen to Corey Glorer too. I tell you what, he's one of the best for sure. All right, so I want to thank Neil Punt, Cy Seymour, Kyle from the LaGrange Barber, Bubba Rosenbaum for producing and on air. I'm Dave Richmond. Enjoyed it. We'll see you on Sunday night for extra innings presented by Next Level Training Center. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.
Surrounded, put your crossbones up and inside.